Hello YouTube! Back again. Another speed lap. This time it's Xiaoyu. This time it is Xiaoyu. I'm pretty sure people love this character. Not cancer at all. Doesn't avoid any mids, any highs, or any lows whatsoever. So, yeah, amazing character. Very easy to deal with. And I'm pretty sure this speed lap is very unnecessary as well. Very, very unnecessary, but we gotta do it anyway. You know, very honest character. Very honest. The most honest character in the game. And the most likely bottom two. Most likely. Not even that strong. Again, this character, man. What can I say about this character? And especially this matchup. So, the Kazuya versus Xiaoyu matchup is very much in favor of Xiaoyu most of the time. Because Kaz kind of relies on a lot of stuff that Xiaoyu can make whiff very, very easily. Very, very easily. So with our normal game plan being like, you know, electrics and forward 2s being like one of our best moves as keep out or as pressure tools, both of them can work. Or as forward 4s, you know, and stuff like that, forward 3s. All of this can be avoided by Xiaoyu just by doing an AOP duck or a sidestep right IOP. I can't really demonstrate that well without taking too much time, but she can avoid these moves. She can. So it's very, very risky to do them. That's why usually when I go up against Xiaoyu, it's much better to change your playstyle to a little bit more defensive one than an aggressive one. So you have to see what the Xiaoyu player does and then react accordingly. One of the best things we have, which is a new addition to punish Xiaoyu, especially on whiffs, is down back 1-2. This is one of the best things we have, and it's new, right? Because it's a fast mid that can punish things like something going into AOP. As long as you're not too late, this will not whiff. As long as you're not too late, because down back 1 also whiffs on AOP. This can actually whiff. But yeah, if you're doing it correctly though, this will work. It's good to have. Duck AOP crushes explosions. I mean, it won't crush explosions, but it will crush the down back 1. But yeah, this move is what I'm talking about. This move is what crushes all of our mids, basically, all of our highs. And if she does the duck motion, which I'm doing right now, well, you can't see it because of the UI frames, but this right here, this avoids a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this avoid the lows sometimes as well. So this is a very strong move. This AOP in general, and with this ducking motion, even better. So be very, very careful about that. Other stuff that Xiaoyu players use usually in the neutral is something like forward 3, which is very common. So it's very good to know how to deal with something like this, right? They don't use this as much anymore because it lost its counter property. It's not as strong anymore. But the way you deal with something like this is a sidestep left. But as I said, make sure to use mids to punish her most of the time. Because if you do something like an electric and you're a little bit too late, what happened there will most likely happen. There we go. Right? That's why it's so important that we gotta move like down back 1-2 now. It's very, very important. Of course you can down forward 1 here as well. But if you want to be like very fast, just down back 1. This is one of the best things we got against characters that avoid highs a lot. So down back 1-2 is very, very good option here. So forward 3 spam, usually you can beat with the sidewalk left. It can track because it's a forward move, so be careful. But it's not as scary anymore because on counter it doesn't do much. So be a little bit careful about this. Other stuff you have to be careful about are some of the new moves Xiaoyu has, like this heat engager right here. I think Xiaoyu players also use this a lot. So back 4-1. It is -14, but they just throw this out. The way you beat this is you literally just block it. I think you can punch parry this as well. You can't. But you usually just block it. Right? And punish it. It is -14. And you can technically electric this. There you go, that was a punish. But it's not worth it. It's not worth to electric. Do either back 1-2 or down back 1 punish. And usually people duck this because there used to be a high here, I'm pretty sure, as well. Or they just don't respect it. So be a little bit careful about this move in particular, because the second move can be delayed. It looks like it is delayed, right? So just respect back forward. Block it and punish it. And if she's in heat though, she can go into a heat dash, so on block it's a little bit iffy. Okay. what I was talking about. I want to talk about this stance a little bit later, which is her strongest thing right now. It's super strong. This is what this move, this stance is what makes her one of the strongest characters in the game right now. It's very, very strong. And I'm going to talk about her heat a little bit later too, in combination with that. Other than that, there are like other good moves, like down back 1, which Link players may use to just check you with a mid, which is also a pretty strong move. But this also can be usually beaten with a sidestep, right? Sidestep to the left, or sidewalk to the left, which makes it easier. So sidestepping Link usually is a good idea, but try not to sidewalk too much, because she also has a lot of homing options. I'm going to cover that in like a little bit, but first I want to cover the down forward 1s and 2 1s. So let's cover the down forward 1. So Link's down forward 1 is 14 frames. This is also stepable to the left and tracks way better to the right. So if you want to sidestep something like this, make sure to go to the left. But make sure to sidewalk, because if you don't sidewalk, it will usually just track you anyway. So Link's down forward 1 has very good tracking, because it tracks sidesteps usually. And it's very hard to punish, because unless you're like super fast, she can also go back turn into the down back. So something like this. So let me try to demonstrate that. Right? Even if you make it whiff, she can just duck it in certain situations, because they usually do that. So make sure to use a mid as a whiff punisher here. Make sure. Like, using mids as whiff punishment is one of the most important things you can do against Xiaoyu. Instead of electrocuting everything, which I know looks cool, and usually that's what you do because it's good. But in this situation, it's not that good. And I talked about homing moves, right? This is one of them, but as I said, I don't want to talk about them yet. So down forward 1, that's how you usually beat it, but it has a very, very good tracking. And if you get hit by this, just remember that you're -9, so you can't do anything here. And the Xiaoyu player will basically mix you up with a back turn mix up. I'll talk about the back turn stuff a little bit later. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot to talk about this character. Okay, but now let's see this move. Not this one. 2-1. I almost forgot. So 2-1 is a high mid check. The Xiaoyu players use a lot as well, which is only -4. So the most common thing they do is either 2-1 sidestep to make some of your moves with, which is pretty common, or 2-1 into, you know, normal block, because they don't go back turned all the time. If they don't go back turned, so something like 2-1 normal block is also -4. The frames do not change. But the good thing to remember is 2-1 to sidestep. This is very, very important to remember, because if you do something like a check, you know, most things will whiff. There's not a lot of stuff that will work here. I think even jabs may whiff. It depends on your jab timing. Yeah. My 1-1 just whiffs. And this is very common because a lot of stuff whiffs because of that. So 2-1 sidestep. And then they just launch you, you know. If they see something whiff, sidestep 4. So be very, very careful about that. Because 2-1 is basically a setup move to go into back turn, or sometimes they just don't go into back turn. So you have to be looking out for this. This is very, very important to look out for. But while I'm saying to sidestep Xiaoyu a lot, one of the things that Xiaoyu players do, which is a very, very good thing to do, is forward 4. This is her tracking move. Lose thing for problem. So this forward 4 is a 19 frame high that doesn't have any counter properties, does 23 damage, and it's, of course, it's duckable, it's a high, but it's safe. And not only is it safe, I think it's +2, it's +1. So it's +1 on block. So whenever you block this, you are in minus. So the Xiaoyu player will mash afterwards. 100%. Don't even expect anything else. If you block this, they will mash. And they mash because they're plus on block. Of course, it's duckable, right? But plus on block. But the biggest thing this move has is that it's +13 on hit. And this +13 means guaranteed stuff. So that's guaranteed. Not only is that guaranteed, all of this is guaranteed. Right? So that's why it's so scary to usually sidestep and sidewalk Xiaoyu too much. Because if they do forward 4 a lot, and you just get clipped by this, This is guaranteed, right? Back forward. Wait. That's all guaranteed. And I think Xiaoyu gets like guaranteed the steel pedal. I forgot the input for Xiaoyu steel pedal. That does a lot of damage. But yeah, that's a lot of damage. So be very, very careful about sidestepping too much. But you just have to remember that this move, it's very good on Whiff, right? This is very hard to punish on Whiff. On block, it's plus. And even if you duck it, it's hard to punish instantly. So you have to be very careful and look out for this move. You can Whiff punish it usually with like a long distance move yourself. Like back 4, forward 2, or fast electric. But it's not easy to Whiff punish. So be really careful about this move and look out for it. Because if the Xiaoyu player sees you just stepping a lot in general, they will do this. Okay. The next important thing to talk about is the wall running 3. This wall running 3 is very strong because it can lead to a combo. There we go, that's a combo, right? Something like this, I don't know. So wall running 3, you have to be looking out for something like that. And usually, this wall running 3 can be avoided. What the hell, why is he doing a 4-4-3? There we go. What? Why was he doing a 4-4-3? There we go. It can be avoided by stepping, but this move has very weird tracking to the left, as you guys just saw. You see this little weird tracking, right? Very weird tracking to the left. So be very careful about stepping this to the left. There we go, that hit back turned. And try to step it to the right more than to the left. If you predict this particular move, you have to be stepping it to the right instead of to the left. I know I usually say to sidestep Xiaoyu to the left, and I said for her down forward to 1, for example. Right, and forward 3. But in this particular example, you have to sidestep it to the right. Yeah, the hit spark right in front of the camera, basically. BFW, thank you for following. But the best thing to know about this move, after you avoid it, of course, you have to use a good mid to punish it. So something like down back 1 can work. But you have to be especially careful about the Xiaoyu player doing like a instant duck to make things like this whiff. You saw that, right? So let's say you're sidestepping and try to punish it. That just whiffed. So make sure to use the move that will hit. Because of the second explosion here, for example, usually this will work. Down forward 4-4, very good as well, or down forward to 1. So these moves are the ones you usually want to use. And as I said, under no circumstances electric. Do not electric. So usually down back 1-2 is good, down forward 4 is good, and down forward 1 strings are good. If you want to punch something like this, which you know ends up in AOP. But now let's talk about this on block, and let's talk about AOP a bit and all options she has, because you know it transitions pretty well. So this on block is a very, very strong move. It's +7 normally. It can become more plus depending on how far away she is. Like +13 there, right? +12, there you go. That's a lot of pluses. So usually you are going to be in an AOP mix-up. So what does this mean? So she goes into this stance afterwards and tries to mix you up. And depending on the range, she can do like many other options. So one of the best options that Xiaoyu players can do is a 2-1. And this is very, very common because they do a 2-1. They confirm if it hit or not, and they cancel if it doesn't. And sometimes they just cancel anyway. So this is very important to know. So AOP 2-1. This is how it looks. And usually it's cancelable with a back input like this. And the most common thing you will see is a Xiaoyu player doing this into down jab. This is very, very common. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen something like this as well. Down jab or just anything else there. And then when you see it come out, you will get countered. The down jab is very common, but I think the most common thing is this into wall standing 2. I don't know how do we cancel this into wall standing 2. But it's also very common. There we go, I think it's something like this. So what happens here is you react to the cancel and you try to press something slow maybe, and you get countered by the wall stand too. I think I did it incorrectly. I think the Xiaoyu player can do it way faster than this, but this is basically what's happening. So you have to be very careful about pressing after this. Very, very careful. And the thing is, even if this whiffs, usually it's very hard to punish unless you are ready for it, right? Something like down back 1-2 is very good here. As I said, use mids, don't use an electrocute. Don't do this. That is not a punish, as you guys saw. But because of the back turn situation, down back 1-2 is really good. So you either whiff it and punish it, which is hard. It's hard to do because it recovers very well on whiff. Or you predict that the Xiaoyu player is gonna cancel, which is what I do sometimes. So I'm gonna predict that she's gonna cancel the 2-1, right? And then I'm gonna instantly mash. This is basically guaranteed if they cancel this. This is guaranteed. This is basically a punish if they try to cancel. So I'm predicting their cancel. I'm pretty sure something like this can also work. A delayed hopkick. Right? Into whatever combo you want. But make sure to use a mid. Do not use a high here. A high will not work. So if you do 1-4-3 for example, it will not work. Because they are ducking afterwards. They're pressing down back. So make sure if you predict they're gonna cancel, do a mid and a good mid. If you're playing any other character, something like a hopkick comes to mind. A hopkick is like one of the best options here. But if you're playing Kaz, down forward 1-2 is pretty good, down back 1-2 is pretty good. So those are your options. Delayed hopkick can also work, but it's a little bit riskier. You might get, you know, jabbed or something. Okay. Other than that, you also have to consider the ling player having the option to do just this without the cancel, but I'm telling you, 95% of ling players do not do just this. They always do this into the cancel. 95%. There are some very good ling players that do just this and confirm the 2. But it's very, very uncommon for you to see this. This right here. And just this is punishable at -11. Guys can back 1 to it, for example, right? But this is very uncommon. You almost never see this. Almost never. So keep in mind the cancel more than this. But the other thing you also have to keep in mind is the finish. Is what ling players will usually do, the 95% I'll be talking about, is they will mix up the cancel with the finish sometimes. If they see you mashing. Let's say you may mash, I don't know, a down forward 1 here. Because you know the cancel is coming. Then they will finish it just so they can hit you. So the very good thing to remember here is that this is also punishable. -12. I mean, you can also sidestep it if they delay it, but let's not go there because undelayable is not steppable. So usually, just punish this. But if you don't play this mind game, the Xiaoyu player is gonna overwhelm you. Like imagine the Xiaoyu player just canceling all the time, right? Like this is the same kind of cancel. Like AOP to 1 cancel. Into this. Into doing another cancel. And stuff like that. It's gonna overwhelm you. So sometimes you have to play the mind game and press in between. You can't always respect Xiaoyu. And Xiaoyu players will hate you for this. They will despise you for this. They will say that you're mashing even though they're the ones mashing. But yeah. Do this. It's very important. Okay. So that's one of the options, right? AOP 2, which is very, very important to remember. AOP 1 is also one of the stuff that Xiaoyu players very rarely use. But it's a good thing to use. I think good Xiaoyu players will use this more. So 1-4, I think this is a new addition. I'm just gonna talk about this briefly. The AOP 1 is very hard to step. It's especially harder to step after while running 3. It is steppable to the right, theoretically, but most of the time you won't be able to step it. So this is a -9 move. And some Xiaoyu players will use this as a knowledge check. So it's a back turn to -5, not -5, -9. And you can't punish this. This is actually a punish. But they can parry something like this. So it's basically a mind game. So mind game is a back turn parry there, basically. How do you parry? That's not the parry. We're gonna talk about that later. That, I guess. So they can parry it, basically. And the same kind of mind game applies to a Cali roll. This move right here. So since I'm talking about that mind game, let me just transition. Actually, before I transition, I have to finish AOP. So AOP stuff, right? So AOP has like two other options that are very common, and the third one, which is a little bit less common, but Xiaoyu players still use it. So I'm going to talk about them as well. First, let's talk about this mid. There's a lot to talk about, boys. I'm sorry about Xiaoyu. So this is AOP down 1+2, which is a slow mid and a normal hit launcher. Normally, Xiaoyu players will use this as a mix-up to their lows, because their lows usually will come out slowly in AOP. If you do like a delayed duck, you will get hit, right? And this deals a lot of damage. That's a normal hit mid launcher, and it's safe. The weakness it has is that it can't be stepped and sidewalked to the left usually. But be careful, in certain situations it might not be sidewalkable. But that's the big weakness that it has. It's pretty linear, but usually to the left and not to the right. But I think it can be stepped both sides most of the time. Okay, so this move is one of the most important moves to know about AOP. AOP mid launcher that mixes up with their lows. The other stuff is this, which is the scissor kicks. This is pretty common, and this is usually used not that low. That's used sometimes, but not that often. Oh my goodness, am I doing the input wrong? Wait, they changed the input. Oh, I remember. My bad. It's 3+4. So it's 3+4, not 3-4. So the scissor kicks. This is usually used as a mix-up to that previous bit that I showed you guys. Of course, you can duck this, right? And you can punish this. But usually, it's not easy to sidestep. It has a slightly bit of tracking that's like slightly in plus frames, basically. But it is steppable. But if you're sidestepping after wall running 3, for example, it's going to be a little bit harder to step. It's easier to step to the left than to the right. But usually, it's going to be hard to step depending on the situation. Right? And you don't always want to step Xiaoyu anyway. But the big important thing about this move is to know how to punish this. I see a lot of people not punishing this correctly. So when you duck this, if you're in far away range, your while staying 4 will whiff. This will whiff. While staying 1 will also whiff. All these moves will whiff, right? And you might think it becomes safe, but that's not really the issue. The issue here is your range, because you're in a lot of plus 32. What you can do to make this very consistent is basically scooch over like this and then while staying 4. Just make sure to do it fast, right? And then do a, I don't know, a normal combo, like down forward to 1. Just make sure you don't drop it. So scooch over, then do it. I think something like this will work as well, depending on the range. That will work really well. See what I'm doing? I'm scooching over, literally just holding down forward a bit. Just so I can cover range. And not with my while standing 4. I've done this at second 7. And it's pretty consistent. Scooching over. Of course you can do something cooler. You know. Wave while staying 4. But I just don't like to overcomplicate it. You don't need to do that. You can also do this. And also one of the things you can do if you want to look very cool is an electric. This is also possible. Yeah, I was just about to mention this. Electric does work. It does. But as I said, I don't want to overcomplicate this too much. And this will work with every character, by the way. Just scooch over a little bit, down forward, and then do a pickup combo. But yeah, and electric works here. An electric back to 2 combo. It does the most damage too. 51 damage, which is pretty good. Does that work on the bear slide? I'm not sure. I haven't tested on the Tekken 8 bear slide yet. But I don't think it whips most of the time with the bear slide on block. Okay, so this is very, very important to remember. How to block and punish this move. The punishment is what's important. The scooch over will work on every character. But if you're playing guys, maybe you can electric it as well. The dash electric can work. But as I said, I don't want to overcomplicate things too much. Okay, and now the third AOP move I want to talk about is how do you do the move? There you go, this one. So AOP down forward 4. It's exactly the same as full crouch down forward 4. It's a very, very strong move because this move usually is very, very hard to deal with, and good Xiaoyu players use this. So when they do this, you have to duck the second hit, but you have to remember that it's safe. Right? So do not, in under circumstances, try to press here, because the Xiaoyu player most likely will have a setup to do something about this. Hypno, I'm gonna talk about Hypno stance like a little bit later. That's why I scooched over that. I haven't talked about that yet. Because Hypno stance is, you know, Hypno stance. Okay, so this move, the double low, it is safe. So what do you do about this? Because if you duck the second one like this, you can't really interrupt this, right? You can't do Wall 4 here. You can't even down jab here. So the way to punish this is this. This is literally the only way to punish this. Because you can't even jump here. Like, I'm trying to jump. Unless your jump frame is good enough, you won't be able to jump well. Hopkick might work here though. But the most optimal way to deal with this is low parry. Duck low parry. But you have to be expecting it. Right? But a delayed hopkick like a slow jump animation will not work. You have to be having a good move that low crushes. Like, Kazuya 4-3 works, I think hopkicks will work, orbitals might work, so you have to experiment with that. But delayed hopkick does not work. It's a little bit on the slower side. So that's how you deal with the double low, which is usually safe. And if you get hit by the first one, and then block the second one, then you can't really do anything, you have to respect it. But if you block the first one, and then low parry the second one, that's how we usually deal with it. Either that or a jumping move. I would suggest a low parry though, unless your jumping move is good, like an orbital or a hopkick. But it's still risky, especially if the Xiaoyu just does this to a block or something else, right? The other thing you can also do, other thing you have to remember is just this. Xiaoyu players don't always finish this. So just this is also safe, which is really messed up. Because in my opinion, it should not be safe. The mind game should be this is unsafe, the second one is safe. That makes sense. But this is also safe. Especially it goes into AOP and you can't really punish this. This is very, very hard to punish. So you have to respect it. That's why this flow is so good when it comes to Xiaoyu. Usually if you want to deal with this in general, you have to be low parrying it. Jump over or low parry it, basically. Right? But when it comes to Kazuya, you have to be able to low parry. Of course, if you like hard read, you can also do this. I wouldn't recommend it too much. But if you're playing any other character with a good orbital or a good hopkick, it might work. Usually orbitals though. But orbitals might whiff because, you know, AOP. AOP. And Xiaoyu. It is what it is. Yeah, this. I'll talk about this later. Okay. Now, that's more or less AOP. More or less, I guess. There's some other options as well, like a hopkick here. That a lot of people do. Like, they do this into hopkick. And this has its own mind game, but I don't think this is worth going over. Maybe I'll just scooch over it just a little bit. So usually, what happens here is they either see this or the mid-mid. Did they remove the high? The high kick? I actually haven't checked that. I think it was 3-3, right? But you usually see this or the double mid. So let me just mention these. These usually come out if the Xiaoyu player tries to avoid something and do an instant AOP hopkick. So usually this one hopkick is -17, which is a lot, right? I think it used to be less minus, I don't remember. So it's launch punishable. It actually electric this pretty comfortably as well, as long as you do it quick enough. Right? So the one hopkick, if you block it, it's pretty punishable. There's also this second variation, but you almost never see this. I don't even need to go over this, to be honest. But did they actually remove the high after this? There was a hopkick with a high follow-up. Maybe they did. But let's talk about the other mid. This one. So the hopkick into the punch that goes into AOP, that's -4. So the good thing to remember about something like this is that this is actually punishable if you have a 13 frame move that reaches quite low. So something like down forward 4-4 will punish Xiaoyu players, for example. Even if they cancel out the AOP, this will be a punish, usually. And if they don't cancel correctly, this will be a punish. And let me tell you, 95% of Xiaoyu players will not cancel correctly after this. They will either press something or cancel incorrectly. So if you do down forward 1-2 as a Kazuya player, or if you do like a 15 frame hop kick there, that will hit it pretty low on the ground, that will actually be launch punishable, basically. But it's as down forward 1-2, or if you want to be super safe, down forward 4-4. It's very, very good to remember. But I still can't believe that double hop kick, the mid into the high, did get removed. I think it might have gone removed. Okay. Let's ignore that. Okay, now let's talk about back turn. There's so much to talk about, holy shit. After back turn, I have to cover the Hypno stance too. Okay, so Xiaoyu's back turn. Xiaoyu has a pretty decent back turn game. I think decent is a little bit a weak term. Pretty good, basically. So, back turn Xiaoyu, what do you expect? Our thinker problem. Usually Xiaoyu players will go back turn after either 2-1, which is a very common way. I think I covered this move already, which, you know, I said they sidestep after, but they can also just stay back turn into a mix-up. So 2-1 is very common. Down forward 1 is very common, which I already covered as well. And the down back 2 is one of the most common ones because it's also a low poke. So let's talk about down back 2 first, and then let's transition to the back turn because I think it transitions almost perfectly. So this is one of the best lows she has, in my opinion. There are other lows that are good enough too, but this is one of the best ones. So down back 2, long range low, 18 frames, +5, and back turned. And not only that, this low has a very, very annoying property that a few moves have in Tekken 8 now, which I don't approve of, to be honest, but is it that it's a mix-up on block. So whenever you block this, you can't actually punish this all the time. So it is -8, you might think it's safe, but Xiaoyu is forced back turned here all the time. So if you do something like while staying 1-2, for example, she will get hit, unless it's like super long range. But what do I mean by it has a mind game? I mean by, how's the parry? I always forget. There we go. I mean that she can actually do a parry here, like that, if you try to punish it, right? You can do a 4-3 here, but Daora, this is basically the same as playing the mind game. If you suspect the parry is gonna happen, might as well make it whip and parry, not parry, whiff punish it, right? So if you suspect that they're gonna parry afterwards, you wait and electric. This is what you do. Because if you try to punish it, it will not work. An up forward 3 isn't a good option because it doesn't work as an option select. If it was fast enough, it would. Maybe a hop kick is an option select, I'm not quite sure. Because, you know, jumping stuff can't be parried anymore. But we don't have a hop kick. So what the Xiaoyu player can do is just turn around. Like the up forward 3 is not punish. Right? This is the big problem about this. And you can't even while standing 2. You have to while standing 1-2. Yeah, parry has a lot of active frames. You have to be very careful about this. Oh, I messed up. I'll talk about this later too. I feel like a lot of people don't know about this mix-up because something got added there and I was completely shocked when I saw that, so I'll talk about that too. So down back 2, usually it has that mind game. And if you want to sidestep it, it usually has decent tracking. But you can sidewalk it to the right and sidestep it to the right, usually. But make sure to be very fast on the punish or do something fast like, you know, this. Down back 1-2. This is the OG right now against Ling. Okay, so that's down back 2. But the strength of this move is the on-hit property. I mean, on-block is really good as well, but the strength of this is the on-hit property. So +5 back turn, you're instantly mixed up. One of the best options she has is back turn 1. This move right here. And it's very strong because it's a countered launcher. It's very, very good. So if she does something like this into this, and you do, I don't know, a generic 13 frame check or while standing 4, you will get countered. This trades because this forces crouch. I forgot it forced crouch, can't be honest. But yeah, this forces crouch, and this will counter your while standing 4 attempt. Which is a very, very strong thing to do. So this is very good to remember. This is basically their check. And the way to avoid it is pure sidewalk left. If you try to sidestep, this happens. You see that? This is very weird. I think this was the case in Tekken 7 as well. And sometimes even the sidewalk didn't work. So it has very good tracking. But if you just do a sidewalk and commit to it, you'll usually avoid this. Right? And try to punish this as fast as possible because, you know, Xiaoyu problems. There we go. But whenever this move comes out, you also have to be looking out for the second one, which is a follow-up. This right here. First, I almost forgot to mention this move on block. So down back to one hit, you block this, -5. This is very, very important to know. Because what happens here... Atom, hello. Because what happens here is... Damn! Doria, big thank you, man. 5 gifted, big thank you. And Maha, thank you for follow as well. Good shit, boys, good shit. So, the -5 situation. What I wanted to talk about. Damn, why is it looping? Not the loop. But
I activate my credit card.
That's crazy. One more?
I activate my credit card.
Unlock. Doesn't it usually do it once? That's crazy. But yeah, thank you again, man.
I activate my credit
What
card.
the fuck? It's stuck. It's stuck, man. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're saved. But yeah, the -5 situation there. You have to be very careful about that -5 situation. Because one, -5 is like little minus enough for the Xiaoyu player to actually use the minus to avoid stuff. Usually with this. Yeah, this is a ling speed lamp. So if they do something like this into down back, they might avoid a lot of stuff that you will throw out. A lot of buttons. So it's scary to press something because of that reason. But that's not the only reason. The second best reason not to press here is because of the follow-up. So Link has a lost angle 1-2, which is new. There was a high here, now it's a mid. And if you do press here, you will get hit, obviously. And I think she gets guaranteed stuff after this, if I remember correctly. But the good thing is, it's punishable. -13. Unlike the high follow-up that she had in Tekken 7, you can actually do a down back 1-2 punish here, back 1-2, anything -13 basically. And also another plus is that it doesn't counter launch you, which is also different from the previous game. Yeah, she does not have the high anymore. It is gone. This is the new move she has basically. There's no high, it's just this. So this is very, very important now. Very, very important. And what she will do if she wants to mix you up? Let's talk about some other options, right? That's the mid option. Usually that also checks you, which is really good because this is also a natural combo. So if she hits you with this, the second one is also natural. So this backturn down 3. Let's talk about the low from backturn. The backturn down 3 is one of the most common backturned lows that the Ling players use for low mix-up, especially a little bit of especially high-level Link players, right? That don't want to risk a lot. So this backturn down 4 or down 3 is -12 on block. You can lost thing 4-4, and it's +7 on hit, which is crazy plus. So you have to respect it a lot if you get hit. And it's gonna be very hard to sidestep it, especially after down back 2. So imagine a scenario like this, right? This into this. You can interrupt this, but I would not suggest doing this. I would not suggest doing this at all, because you'll also get countered by the 1. And you cannot sidestep this. Even if you're P2, I'm pretty sure you can't sidestep to the right. So you have to usually respect the mix-up and duck it into one staying 4-4. But the important thing to realize about this move is that it also has a high follow-up. So this is also one of those moves that have a mix-up on block. So if you do block this and try to punish it, this will hit you on counter. This guarantees steel pedal. So you have to be very careful. Can you not down jab both options? Yeah, but I don't like doing that option select usually because it gives so little reward. If you want the very good option usually and you need to do it, it's good to go for. But I think in some situations this might whiff. There you go. Especially if you backdash duck. I think you can down to option select. That's like the correct option select if you want to actually option select. Down to. But yeah, as I said, sometimes option selecting isn't the best idea all the time. Because you're literally punishing this with the down jab, which is usually launch punishable, right? If you just guess once. And if the Link player is spamming it, I think it's better to just duck it. Instead of doing the, option select. It's not always worth it to do like 10 damage. Iconic Mishima down 2, yes. So yeah, just remember that there is that. 100% there is that. The other backthird stuff that's worth remembering is the backthird snake edge, which Link players might use if they want a better reward. Especially if you can't react to this, right? Which can be hard to react to sometimes. But the good thing about this is that now it is a clean hit property and it's not always a launch. Right? So if you backdash a lot, it won't work. But let's talk about this situation. This is a little bit iffy. Especially if you're a little bit too close and you backdash at a bad timing, you might get hit by this with the launch anyway. Right? So make sure to backdash here at the correct timing. Just to make it not launch. Or backdash duck can work, but if you can react to it, you don't really have a problem. Just react to this shit and while staying 2. It's basically a backturn snake edge. But be careful about this. They might use this a lot. But now let me talk about the most annoying things you can do from backturn. Let me see if I can remember the input. Oh, this, I almost forgot. I'm not talking about this, by the way, but let's mention this as well. Maxed 1+2. So this is one of the mid moves that Xiaoyu players will use to check you from backturn. Like imagine down back 2 into this, basically. Basically something like this, right? Because they can confirm if the 1+2 hit or not. Good Xiaoyu players will be able to confirm this and can just finish this. And they get something guaranteed after that. Yeah, it's a mid. It does look like a high a little bit, but it's a mid. So this has 2 follow-ups now, which is a big difference because in Tekken 7 it only had 1 follow-up, which was this. So first let's talk about this follow-up. We already saw that the move itself is -6, it's not punishable. But the big thing is that this move used to be -10 in Tekken 7 and now it's -13. You can actually punish this with a bigger punish now, like 13 frame punish, 12 frame punish, something like that. But this is very, very good to know. It's very important to know. And now you might ask, why would they make this, -13? Well, one reason they made this one -13 is that it has a new property with a knockdown. This didn't used to knock down. The second reason they made -13 is because they have a follow-up now. A new follow-up, which is a heat engaging high. So, if you see this, usually you will see either this high, but I'm gonna be honest, you'll usually see the high and not the mid. This high right here, and not the mid. Because this high is someone not everyone expects because it's new. This is new. This wasn't here in the previous game. And it's also plus on block, it's +3. So Xiaoyu players abuse this a lot because people think they can press afterwards. Right? You might think, it's my turn now, I blocked something. But no, it's not your turn. It's still Xiaoyu's turn. +3. So you have to be very, very careful about this. And if you do expect it, of course you can duck into launch. It's not jailing. Thankfully. Surprising, but thankfully, it's not jailing. It just mixes up with the mid, basically. It mixes up with this. So be careful about that. And remember, there's a high follow-up that's plus. So if you forget to duck it or you just decide not to duck it and you block it, make sure to, respect Xiaoyu in that situation. Because usually they will just do a 2-1 check to, check you. Or they might do this string fully. I think this move is something I really have to talk about as well. I almost forgot. So, before I go into the last thing about backturned, actually let me go into it and then I'll talk about Fort Ford 1.
I activate my credit card!
Damn, Carlo, big thank you, man. Big thank you for the sub. Okay, so this move. I think this is the most annoying thing for me personally that a Xiaoyu player can do. This jump. So backturned jump into a throw mix-up. And she can do this anytime she goes back turn, like after 2-1, after down forward 1, anytime, right? Down back 2. This can happen. So let's see, and let's see what this does. So in the previous game, it was a very, very simple back turn mix-up, right? There was either a 1 here or a 2, so you had to guess. If you do block this, not block this, but get thrown, you have to guess either a 1 throw, so you mash 1 to break it, or mash 2 to break it. These are like 2 different ones. There we go. I think that's a 1. I think that's a 2. I don't remember. That's side throw though. Wait 1 second. I think this is a 2. So something like this. But what they added here is something that I was like really, really surprised about. Is that they added a 1+2 input. A 1+2 throw to this mix-up. So it's not a 2-way mix-up. It's not 50-50 anymore if you get thrown. It's a 3-way mix-up. So that's way worse for you now. But that's not the most shocking thing. The most shocking thing is the throw that they added. It's this throw right here. Not this one. That's a side throw. God damn it, man. This right here. So this is the 1+2 version. If you get grabbed and you press 1+2, you'll break this. But you will not break the other one. But why am I so shocked they added this? It's because this is a launcher. This will launch you. I don't know how you can launch this, but this is a launcher. Xiaoyu players can launch through this. Yes, that's a launch. 4-3-1-4 pickup. Let me try it. Wait. I don't know how to launch it, but I just know it's a launcher. Yeah, there you go. So it's a launcher. And I was like, so not only did they add another option to the mix-up, right? Which is a 1+2, which is the strongest one. It's a launcher. It deals a lot of damage. Hands are... No, they're not seeable. They're not. You have to guess. This is a pure guess. It's a 3-way guess now instead of a 50-50 guess. So it's super strong. The one thing you have to do against this is you have to react to this because it comes out in 31 frames and duck it. Right? But she has a cancel. Fun, right guys? Very fun character. So if you do something like, let's imagine you're getting mixed up, you try to react to this, and you try to press something, right? I reacted while standing forward. I react while standing forward, and I'm a little bit too late because, you know, I reacted. Fun, you get counter hit. This happens very, very common. Very, very commonly. So you have to be very careful about the situation. The best thing you can do about this... Oh yeah, Jay, hello. Can you react? Can try to react and float her. If you try to react with a jab, maybe sometimes, but it's not a float. You won't be able to float her. It's not a jumping status, so I don't think this is worth it. Because it's risking way too much. And it's gotta be very hard. Usually reacting with the duck is the best thing to do. The best thing of what I find to do against this is you react with the duck in the while standing forward instantly, as fast as possible. Just so you avoid that while standing to counter it. But if you are a little bit too late, you are still gonna get countered. But yeah, if you do react to it, always check with the while standing forward. Or something fast. At least 13, right? So something like Kazuya while standing 1+2 might be a good option. But make sure to be fast about this, because you will get countered. And it's gonna be very hard to do if you're not fast. So be very, very careful about that setup because it's very common. Everyone uses it. Everyone uses it. So be very, very careful. And if you do block, let's say you don't do anything, right? You're just backdashing and you just block this. Nothing really happens. It's -3, and Xiaoyu usually just gets out of the situation pretty easily. Or maybe even tries to pressure you even more with like 2 1s, or I don't know, backturn mix-ups even more. So be very careful about that. Okay, so this is very important to know because for me, this is the most annoying thing Xiaoyu players can do. This into the cancel. Very annoying. Obviously, the mix-ups are annoying as well. Like this mix-up with the down 3 mix-up. These are annoying too. But that jumping move, it's pretty annoying. Let me tell you that. Okay. I want to talk about forward 1 now. So forward 1, I think this move is super strong. I think this is the move that gets something guaranteed in AOP, right? Yes. So forward 1. This is a mid that guarantees all this. I don't know if that's on hit on counter hit. That's on hit. Okay, I was wrong. It's even stronger than I thought. So the normal hit, this is all guaranteed. So forward 1. This is a 15 frame mid punch. It's a forward move. It will come out a little bit slower. The main weakness this has is that it's pretty linear. But if the Xiaoyu player uses this correctly, because it's a forward move, she can actually use this really well without you sidestepping too much. And while it says -11 there, it says -11, right? You might think it's punishable. But this transitions into AOP. So forward 1 AOP is usually what they will do. If they use forward 1 the correct way, they will transition to AOP. And you will be +5, but you won't actually get any kind of punishment here. I think Xiaoyu will be able to block this if she cancels AOP correctly. I don't know how to cancel it correctly, but I think it's blockable. So you have to be very careful in that situation. Am I sure they can block? I mean, even if they can't block, just forward 1 without AOP becomes much more of a mix-up. But I think usually they will go into this. But I don't know how they can get up correctly. I knew, but I forgot. Up block maybe? Let me try that. Wait, let me try that. That's a jump. That is not an up block. That I messed it up again. I'll try one more time. If I messed it up, that's gonna be it. Okay, there we go. Let me see if that blocks it. Yeah, there we go. I think I was a little bit late. But I think they can block this in this way. I'm pretty sure Xiaoyu players know how to cancel this correctly. I'm not quite sure because I don't know, but you guys can experiment with it. Try down forward 2, that's too slow. Down forward 4 is faster. But yeah, this into this is all guaranteed. So be very, very careful. Too high execution. I just don't know how to cancel this. I wonder if they can go below down forward 4, which I doubt. So you have to experiment with your characters. Okay, so that's forward 1 that's needed to be talked about. But I think now we can go into Hypno stance, right? Right, guys? Is it time for Hypno stance? This shit. And the transitions. I mean, usually it's this. Or this. Or this. Okay, so these 3 transitions. Yeah. Hypnotizes. Yeah, try to go into the Hypno stance. Okay, this stance, man. So first let's go over the transitions. So while staying one that I talked about that had this follow-up. 1-4. It also has a Hypno transition, which is this stance. I call it the Hypno stance. I think it's called a hypnotist, or what, however you pronounce that. So, this stance, I call it the Hypno stance. This is one of the transitions, and you usually respect it because this has a follow-up, right? It has 2 follow-ups actually, this high and the mid. The mid is a new follow-up. It's basically a mix-up to the high. I don't know why they would add that, but it's basically a mix-up to the high. I already talked about it, so let's not talk about this too much. But this is the scary part. The Hypno into the mix-up. I'll talk about the Hypno mix-up in a bit. How minus is the mid? You mean this one? I talked about this already, it's -9, but back-turned. So it's a back-turned mix-up. So that's one of the transitions, which can be pretty common. Basically after while running 3, while standing 1, Hypno. You know, while running 3, while standing 1, Hypno, mix-up. Common. The other one is forward 4. Not forward 4. Forward 4. This one. So this is a high with a lot of range. Very, very long range. Especially when it's extended with the second forward, right? If you extend this a lot, you just go into Hypno instantly. And the best thing to remember about this high is that you're -9. That's why this is so strong. -9 Hypno stance, right? Of course you can block this, not block this, duck this. I think it's steppable as well. It's pretty linear. But if you do block it, you're basically in a mix-up. Which is the Hypno mix-up. One of the strongest mix-ups she has. Especially in Heat. I'm going to talk about the Heat version a little bit later. So this is one of the transitions. And the third one, which I know about, I don't know if there's anything else. I'm just going to cover these ones for now. Is 4-2-1 to Hypno. This works well because 4-2-1 is jailing now. So this didn't jail in the previous game. Normally the second high is duckable, was duckable. Now it's jailing. -6, jailing, not punishable. So what they do is do this into the Hypno stance, and if you do try to press something, they have either a 4 here, or in heat they also have a 1+2. But usually you will see the 4. But the big thing to remember about this string, especially if you're coming from Tekken 7, same thing for problem, is that this string used to be safe, but now it's unsafe, -13. So this is very, very important to remember. Whenever you see the kick come out, you always punish this. -13 now. I don't remember how much minus this was, but it used to be safe. So if you see the kick come out, punish it. So the Link player will not be able to spam this into this too much as a mix-up, right? But then there's another huge problem in heat. In heat, there's another problem. As I said, I'll talk about the heat version a little bit later. That hit looks high, it does. I thought for the longest time in Tekken 7 that it was a high when I was, learning Xiaoyu at first, but it's not. It is indeed a mid. So yeah, now let's talk about the mix-ups and Hypno stance. So this stance has a low mix-up, has a mid mix-up, and a plus frame high. I think this is the plus frame high, right? I forgot what the plus frame high is, but let's talk about the low and the mid. Basically, they're the most common ones. So that's Hypno 3, which is usually the low mix-up. Not usually, that's the low mix-up. So it's a tracking low, 20 frames, right? And if the Hypno is charged, it will knock you down. Like that. Guarantees, I think, something like... Or the 1+2? No, 1+2. 3+4, that's guaranteed, right? This is guaranteed. And if she has enough charges, which she accumulates by just stepping a lot, this is the normal hit launcher now, right? So this is a very, very strong tool if she charges it enough. So if she steps enough, like this, and there's that aura, that wind aura around her, that's when you know she charged it, right? And she can do this, it becomes a normal hit launcher. But the scariest thing about this move is not only is it tracking, right? You can't really step it, so you have to duck it. You're forced to duck it. Either duck it or orbital or something like that, right? But I think orbitals can whiff because of the animation, but let's ignore that for now. It's -12. So that's one of the biggest problems about this move. So no matter how much she charges it, let's say this becomes a launcher, right? That's a launch. It's still -12. No matter what happens, how much it's charged, no matter if it's a launcher, no matter if it's a normal hit knockdown, it's always -12. Always, always. It does not change its properties. So that's why this move is so damn strong. It's very, very good. And it uses this property very well, especially in heat. And as I said, I'll talk about that later. Now let's talk about the mid. So this mid is the Hypno mid mix-up, which is only -4, right? Very little minus. It's fast, mixes up with the 3 quite well, and it's a heat engager, right? So it's very, very strong mid mix-up for Xiaoyu's Hypno stance. It's very good. And if you step a lot, that's in heat. I don't want to talk about heat now. I think it will deal more damage. Yeah, basically. Yes, it's a heat engager, it won't really do anything. But in heat, it's gonna be different. So in heat, this mix-up is very, very strong. Okay, is there anything I forgot before I go into heat, though? I think there's just one thing that I forgot. I just remembered. That I didn't mention. When I was talking about the back turn, I did not mention Cali roll. This right here. I might as well mention this. So, this is one of the options that Xiaoyu players have in back turn, and they might use it in the neutral as well, just like that. Because it crushes a lot. Let me try to demonstrate crushing. Like a down forward 2 maybe? There you go. Right? It crushes a lot. See that crushing? That's why they use it so much. The way you punish this is you see that -11, right? You absolutely have to use either 10 framers or 11 frame moves to punish this. And ask us, one of the best things you can do is either a back 1-2 or a 1-2 into 1+2. Something like this. But the problem with the 1-2 into any kind of string or 1-2 into 1+2 is that she can actually parry immediately after. Yeah, RPG 1-2 4-3, this also works, but that last kick is parryable from what I know. I don't know if it got changed, because it was always parryable in Tekken 7. But if this last kick counts as an aerial move, it won't be parryable anymore. But it is parryable now. So you have to be very careful about punishing this. Make sure to use either a 10 framer, maybe try out 1-4-3 sometimes, maybe they won't parry it. Or you can also do back 1-2. Those are your options basically. But make sure not to use something slow like an electric or down forward 1, because parry. Brian fully launches, yeah I know. Brian has a good punish for this. Okay. So now let's talk about the heat. I forgot to mention this, it's important to know. Now let's talk about the heat. So, where can I start? So about heat. Xiaoyu becomes like way stronger. This is her like boss mode right now. It's a boss mode. So let's do this just so we can make things easier. Opponent heat, activate heat, just so I don't manually go into heat all the time. So, one of the biggest things you have to know is, if you guys remember, I talked about 4-2-1, right? And the heat transition to Hypno. This is very important to know when Xiaoyu is in heat, because she has a follow-up afterwards which is heat inclusive. So, 4-2-1, 1+2. This is a follow-up that Xiaoyu has only in heat. And it's a mid that's it's plus for Xiaoyu. Right? So if you do block this, it's not going to be good for you. You're in the back tier mix-up immediately afterwards. So what you can do about this is you sidestep her to the right. And then electric. Unless you're me, because I suck. I can't electric. So yeah, sidestep right, electric. This is how you deal with this. If you sidestep to the left, you will get hit. Or if the wall is to your right, then GG, well played. You can't do anything about this. Can you parry this? I haven't checked that. Wait. It's a jumping move. Yeah, I forgot. Of course you can't parry. It's a jumping move. I think you can power crush through it though. You can indeed power crush through it. But yeah, sidestep right is usually the way you want to go. Usually. But why is it so important that she has this move? Well, it's so important because she now can go into this stance without you interrupting her way more consistently. Because you're afraid, right? You're afraid of this move. Which is very strong. You're afraid of this. Now she can go into Hypno stance way more consistently. And the thing about Hypno in heat is that it charges up faster. Way faster. Like, if she does this instantly, this is just a knockdown now. Instant knockdown. And same with 2. It knocks down. It's very strong in heat. It's very strong with a lot of damage. So that's like the biggest difference in the Hypno stance. Is that she can charge it up very fast. So imagine something like this into the 3. Right? That's an instant knockdown. You can't even interrupt this. You can't do anything about this. Right? Power crush won't work because obviously it's a low. Down jab won't work. Nothing works. You can jump over it, obviously. Right? You guess it. But it's still minus 12. When I said that no matter what the situation, this always becomes minus 12. This is always minus 12. Guys, it removes 1 step needed for the recharge. So it basically speeds up the recharge by plus 1 step automatically. So you have to be very careful here. And that low will mix up with the 2. So basically if it does this into the 2, if you try to jump, you will get hit. Maybe jumping is the best option. Or like less reward, less risk I mean. But you can't really sidestep this. You can't really sidestep it. Duck. Either side. Unless you time it perfectly. I just timed it well. And it's very hard to time. Right? I still get hit most of the time. In real matches, this will not be that easy to do. I don't think that even was a punish. And, oh yeah, I almost forgot. This mid is +5. This is +5, basically. So you have to be very, very careful here. And I mean, very careful. The heat burst here. Yeah, I can't heat burst the mid. I cannot do it. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it didn't work. I have to keep mashing. Okay. But I'm not sure if the low will work. I'm trying. It does not work. Nah, you ain't seeing it. You ain't seeing this. And not to mention, using heat burst as a way to get out of the situation isn't the best option. Yeah, I can't do it. I get countered. Maybe in other situations that's not +9, but in this situation I can't. Okay. Yeah, after 4-2-1 that makes sense, but after 4-2-1 if you just heat burst immediately, you can just do this, which will just beat you. So you can't really react to that well. So yeah, Hypno stance becomes way, way stronger. How long did it take me to learn all characters? I mean, I'm still learning, bro. I'm still learning. So you have to be very careful. And the 2, which I said is plus in heat, right? So Hypno 2. Let me try to record this. Is +5. She is plus after this. I think Propellum. So you have to be very careful. And not to mention, this move right here is a heat dash move. So if you do block this, let's say you block this, not block to get hit by it. It's a launcher. That's a launch. Drops the string. That string is not the problem. The problem is 4-2-1 into nothing, which is safe. 4-2-1 into nothing. That's the problem. But yeah, Ling is very, very strong. Very strong in many, many situations. And something like this is also a mix-up, basically. Like AOP1, Hypno 3. So be aware of these situations, these Hypno situations, the Hypno transitions. And you basically have to guess unless you disrespect her. Unless you disrespect her in those block situations. But if you disrespect, she also has options to, you know, keep you in check. But sometimes it's worth it to do disrespect. Especially with some kind of power crushes or if you heat burst, it can work as well. But sometimes it may not. You may not know, you may not have the frames for it. So yeah, be very, very careful. Yeah. What else to talk about? I talked about 4-2-1 1+2. I mean, she has absurd damage, but I don't need to talk about that. I think that's more or less it. Oh, let's talk about the heat smash as well. While we're at it. So, this Ling heat smash is a +9 usually, and leaves her at a back turn mix-up. If I remember correctly, I think she can also transition to Hypno stance after this. I'm not quite sure though. Yeah, this is the normal version. That is +9. Back turn mix-up. I already covered the back turn mix-up, so that's the options that you have to expect in this situation. Something like down 4 maybe, down 3, 1, 1+2, those kind of options. Maybe Cali roll, but I doubt Cali roll is going to come out. Maybe, right? So that's kind of mix-up that you're getting, normally. And the thing is, this is pretty steppable to both sides if you predict it. But you have to be very careful about stepping this, obviously, just like all heat smashes. And if you want to punish this, you have to punish the last hit. Because it's a little bit more weird to punish the first hit. I think you have to delay this a lot. I haven't tested this for a while. To get a launch. Otherwise you get that. But yeah, probably not to electric here. I think maybe a down forward 1-2 would be a good option. Or something like this. Basically a back turn punish. That's usually the way you want to punish your heat smash. But other than that... Oh! Back turn heat smash. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. This one. It's the while staying 2. I kind of talked about while staying 2. Like the while staying 2 usually comes out in like this situation which I already talked about, right? Or some cancel situations like this, which I already talked about as well. Oh, to punish the heat smash sidestep. Ah, gotcha, gotcha. Maybe. Then now let's talk about the back turn. So this is the heat smash that goes to the Hypno. So it's plus 18 into Hypno, which means you're gonna get mixed. There's no getting out of getting mixed here. Plus 18, bro. You have to guess here either a mid or a low. So it's either the Hypno 2 here or the Hypno 3. And usually I think the lane player has enough time to charge up once. If you don't mash, obviously. No, I mean, even if you mash, she can charge up once. But if she wants to charge up twice and you don't mash, that's gonna also happen. So it's either a knockdown low, which is minus 12, or a mid, which is kind of hard hitting as well. And it's minus 6. From what I remember, it was minus 6. So be careful about this. And if you do step this, this has the same kind of punishment as the other hit smash. When you have to wait for the second hit, go close and then punish it. And I don't know, punish it with either, maybe electrical will work down for the 1-2. I haven't tested this for too much. But, you know, do the punish that works best for you. I think down for the 1-2 or down back 1-2 might be the most consistent one. But, yeah, I think that's it, more or less. There might still be a lot of stuff to cover. Most likely there is. Haven't covered a lot of her lows. I covered like the most important stuff and most of the flowcharts that might be useful. But yeah, I think that's about it. For now, that's okay. For now, that's okay. So yeah, everyone, YouTube, big thanks for watching. This was a long one. I think this was the longest one. 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour, like 13 minutes. Crazy. So yeah, thanks for watching once again, YouTube. Till the next one.